This is Nicholas Whalen. Join me in discovering the domestic art of keeping animals as pets. Today we're talking flyball as we share with you some of our pet peeves. Welcome to Pet Peeves, exclusively on Eastlink TV. Today we're talking dogs, flyball, and I have with me Eileen Higginbotham.
Yes.
With the Fast'n'FUrious Flyball group in Prince Edward Island. Welcome, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, Eileen, give me a sense and tell viewers at home what flyball is.
Well, okay, flyball is a competitive dog sport. We talk kind of in terms of it's a little bit drag racing, a little bit fetch. So you've got 4 dogs on a team. There's a racetrack made of tough spun, and you have to run, each dog has to run down the lane over 4 jumps. They have to hit a spring-loaded box. The ball ejects, they catch the ball, and they bring it over the 4 jumps, and then the next dog goes. So it's a relay, and the fastest 4 dogs win. You're always competing against another team. So if you're faster than that team, you win, assuming that you don't make any mistakes along the way, because you have to go over all the jumps. So if you miss a jump, it's a fault. You have to take the ball back. If you drop the ball, it's a fault. There's a bunch of different things that go on there.
Now, is this an international sport, or is it a North American one? I mean, obviously there are groups across Canada.
Yeah, they do play it everywhere. Where I would know it best is just the North American portion of it, all across the United States and Canada. That's the organization I'm most familiar with. That's the one we belong to, North American Flyball Association. It's called NAFA.
And when was flyball established in Prince Edward Island?
In Prince Edward Island, they did it about, let me see now, 1998. 1998, they kind of got it started. There was a gentleman that moved here from Ontario that knew the sport, grabbed a few members. His name was David Ember. Grabbed a few members and kind of taught them, and then they became a region. And we were called Atlantic Dog Sports when it first got going. And by 1999, Dave kind of said, okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to turn the club over to a board of directors and the members, and then we became Fast'n'FUrious Flyball.
And how many members would you have now?
Right now, we probably have about 20 people, but there's probably about 40, 45 dogs.
So tell me a little bit, I know you guys do a lot more than just flyball. You have a lot of outreach programs and things that you do as well. Can you talk about that at all?
Well, we do a lot of different things. Of course, flyball is our main thing. We do some charity events with the Humane Society whenever we can. We do our Old Home Week performance shows. That's part of just kind of a pay thing that we do to raise funds every year. We have our flyball tournaments. We hold seminars. We go to seminars. Some of our dogs are therapy dogs. Some of our dogs are blood donors. Some of our dogs, a couple of our dogs come to school with me, and they do behavior and empathy training at school with me. A few of our members do a little bit of disc, a few do a little bit of agility, so we're very diverse.
So if I have a dog and I'm interested in flyball, how do I know, first of all, if my dog is even qualified, if you will, to do it, and how do I get involved?
Well, basically we feel any dog can play. That's the beautiful thing about flyball is you can be at the top of the game and the fastest dogs, or you can be at your own speed, and there's always a place for you to run because each section is in divisions. So if your dog can do that whole racetrack in 4 seconds, you're in one spot and you race against other dogs that race at that speed. If your dog can do it in 7 or 8 seconds, there's still dogs that do it at that level, and you're going to be in those divisions with those like speed dogs. So pretty much if your dog will play with you and your dog is interested in retrieving anything, you've got the basics. If you were interested in the sport here, you'd come to a flyball tournament, you'd talk to some of the members. We're hoping to run some classes, those kinds of things.
So I imagine you perhaps have a wide breadth of breeds already involved in the flyball group?
We do. There's Skipper Keys, there's Jack Russell Terriers, I'm just talking general, not necessarily our club. Giant Schnauzers, Dobermans, Border Collies are a very popular dog to have in the sport, predominant Border Collies. Then there's something called a Border Staffy. It's a Border Collie mixed with a Staffy Bull Terrier. There's a lot of those. And kind of the new top dog in this racing realm is a Border Whippet. So it's a Border Collie mixed with a Whippet. The best in North America, the fastest in North America right now are Whippets and Border Whippets.
In Prince Edward Island, how long have you been involved in the group?
I've been in about 12 years.
And what type of dog do you have?
Oh, we have a bunch. I have 7 dogs. So we have.
And they all compete in flyball?
They all have or are competing in flyball or are about to. So we've got our Doberman who plays. He's been playing a few years now. I've got a few Border Staffies, one that's not ready, 2 that are playing. We have a Jack Russell Terrier that's retired. We have a Border Collie that still plays and a Border Collie mix that's, she plays in the Veterans League right now. The jump heights are lower, there's less requirements on them physically, but it's just kind of for fun. So 5 of the 7 right now play. One's retired and one's still learning.
If I know nothing about dog training and I want to be part of flyball, how do I get started in the training process?
Well, you just hook up with the team and we'll take you along. The beautiful thing is we've had a few people along the way that have wanted to learn a little bit about it, didn't have their own dog. Luckily, a lot of us have extras that already know how to do the sport, so we'll give you what we call a push-button Border Collie, a Border Collie that's just going to do the sport pretty much no matter what you do. They know the job. They're going to go get the ball. They're going to come back for the reward. And we teach you kind of how to do that. With the steps, if you want to come in, we would show you, how to play with your dog, and you could practice that at home. And we could show you how to get your dog to get the toy and bring it back, and we could teach you that. A lot of times we're doing classes, so you would come in and you learn at the same time with everybody else, if we're going to do it that way.
So why dogs? I mean, you chose the sport for a reason, obviously, but what do you feel is that sort of human connection with dogs? I mean, obviously they're one of the world's most popular pets, but what do you personally and what do you experience from the group that you feel is that sort of connection to the dogs?
Well, I guess first of all, the dogs, I really enjoy thinking about how to do the training. The training is the most fun for me. If I had my dogs and I trained them all the way up to play flyball and got them racing ready, if I could hand them off at that point and watch them race, that would be what I would enjoy doing. Not necessarily the racing of my own dog. So I like that part. It gives you a chance to push yourself as a trainer, because you have to think about how to set that dog up for success, and if they fail, not that they failed, but what did you forget to think about? So it's always very challenging, and they can't tell you, which makes it even more challenging. So to think about that. And then for this group, anybody who spends some time with us will say we're like one great big family. We are this gigantic support system, and we train together, and we travel together, and we party together, and it's awesome. It really is a big family.
Super. Well, thank you for being here, Eileen. We had a chance to catch up with the Fast and Furious Flyball group in Prince Edward Island at Old Home Week. So when we come back, we'll take a look at that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Pet Peeves, exclusively on Eastlink TV. We spoke with Eileen Higginbotham with the Fast and Furious Flyball group here in Prince Edward Island. Well, some weeks ago, we caught up with them at Old Home Week. Take a look.
Well, right now you're at Old Home Week 2013, and you're at our Flyball Dog Performance Show. We're just getting ready to start. We've been the headline act here for, I think, 6 or 7 years. So we come in for several nights through Old Home Week, and we put on a show for the fans. Flyball is just one piece of our show. Flyball is a dog race, so that we do a lot of other things in our show. So we do an agility competition. We do a high jump competition. It's called Puissance. We do a couple of funny things where we do a weave pole with the Doberman. We do some balloon breaking with one of our mixes. It's an interactive show, so we have a lot of children come down from the audience. We've got a soccer component where they play soccer against a dog. The balloon breaking is against a dog. The weave challenge is against a dog. Well, what you're about to see is a variety of dog-related sports and tricks. We're going to open the show with a canine freestyle dance demonstration. That's with myself and one of my dogs, one of my border staffies, Cannon. Then we go into a high jump, the Peeves puissance competition. Then we're going to go into some agility, and we'll do some of the soccer and the weave and the balloon competition. We throw out a bunch of frisbees, and we end with flyball.
Hi, I'm Mike Devine. I'm with the Fast'n'FUrious Flyball Club. I'm here at the Civic Center this week at the Old Home Week. We're putting on a dog show that we put on now for the last 5 or 6 years in a row. It's a great little show that we like to entertain, show the skills of our dogs.
So tell us what your dog was participating in today.
My dog, Cisco, is a border staffy, and he competed in the Frisbee Challenge and as well as the Flyball demonstration. He's 6 years old. He was bred in Ontario by Aaron Robbins, who owns the fastest flyball team in North America. He's been doing this for a number of years, and so we had the opportunity to get into a breeding, and we have the 3 siblings. We have Cisco, Viper, and Combat. Well, it's a great activity for me. It's some physical activity, and it's a way to keep my dog in good condition, socialized. He has a purpose now, playing flyball, playing frisbee. And it's just a good competition. It's a good thing for me just to sort of relax with. I have a great group of friends here that enjoy the same type of fun and friendship and just competing. And we've been quite successful in the last number of years. We have about 11 tournaments a year. We hope to have about 4 tournaments on the island, which leaves 7 tournaments off island. And those could either be in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. We have gone to Maine. We have gone to Indiana, we've gone to Montreal, we've gone to Toronto area, so we're willing to go and compete. We have a nice core group that are willing to have same type of values, that want to go and really push our dogs. So this year I think we'll just have the 11 tournaments in PEI, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. Some dogs are much more easy to train. He was a pretty natural border collie, and American Bull Terrier. A lot of border collie brain, so which makes it a little bit easier as far as having those natural instincts as far as the ball and doing the retrieval, doing the jumps, teaching the box. So basically we tried to go through probably a 6 to 8 week orientation, trying to understand, did your dog have ball drive? Does it want to play with the ball? If it doesn't want to play with the ball, it's going to be tough to play the sport. And then you just sort of train it. It's sort of that muscle, just sort of memory, just of, okay, you train it from the box out, over the jumps, over the jumps, over the jumps. And then you start to introduce a ball, and you put the ball, and then you try to figure out which way does your dog turn. Dogs are left-handed and right-handed, just like humans are. So you put a ball flat on the floor, you send your dog after it, he'll keep on turning, he or she will keep on turning the same way. And so once you determine that, then you know whether you have a left-handed turning dog or a right-handed turning dog. And so you just work that. Then you introduce the box to that, and you put props in to try to get them up and jumping up on the box, and then you put the ball in the hole, and you just keep on working. And then once you've done all of that, then you try to work with actually putting other dogs out on the mats so that there's distractions out there to see whether or not they have the focus to go down to the box, get the ball, and come back, and not cross over. And then you introduce other dogs on your team to see whether or not are they going to be able to pass. As you can see from the demos tonight, you can do a pretty tight pass at that start-finish line where you can get inside a foot from nose to nose for those dogs. So that's the goal, of trying to be as tight as you can, because it's a running time. You don't want to waste time. You got a big exchange. Your clock's still running. So you're trying to make that as tight as you possibly can. All that comes with training, familiarity with the other dogs on your team. Well, it's a great opportunity. It depends what your goals are. We have all kinds of different dogs on our team, all kinds of different goals. Some dogs you just want to be out here socializing, giving them an activity. Some of us are a little bit more serious about running for an actual time. Where most of us get into it from the social side of things, and we've sort of grown into the competitive side. So there's always a spot for you, big, small, any kind. We're welcome to, and we'd like to see you out here.
It's been another busy week here at the PEI Humane Society, and joining me once again is Tim Sheepens, Animal Protection Officer with the shelter. And Tim, it's really the great work that you folks do, that when animals don't have a home, you ensure that they don't roam.
Absolutely. We do try and reunite them with their owners, and if we can't locate the owner for whatever reason, then we do everything we can to adopt them out. When some of the animals come into the shelter, they might have been without food for quite a while and experiencing a certain level of stress. To help them regain some of their confidence when they're eating and everything, and also to prevent them from scarfing their food down quite quickly, we have certain items that we use to kind of stimulate their natural instincts. One of them is this item here. It's called a tricky treat ball, and if I shake it a little bit, you'll see that some of the food will come out of it, and it takes them longer to get to the food, for one, and it also stimulates them a little bit inside of the kennel, and it gives them something to do. One of the other things that you're holding right there, Nicholas, is it's called a Kong, very commonly known, and you can fill it with all sorts of types of food or treats, or even peanut butter for some dogs, and it gives them really a good stimulation. So that definitely helps us too with enriching some of the environment here. And the last item that you're holding there, it's called a pill pocket. Some of the animals in here, of course, do need some medication every now and then. And the pill pocket, we're able to put the pill inside of there. It kind of covers it up and gives it a better flavor, so the dogs are more likely to eat it and get them to better health.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
If you'd like to learn how you can help the PEI Humane Society, please log on to their website, peihumanesociety.com, or give them a call, 892-1190.
Welcome back to Pet Peeves right here on Eastlink TV. Just before the break there, we visited the Fast'n'FUrious Flyball group in Prince Edward Island at Old Home Week. And joining me now in studio is Chris Higginbotham. Chris, I know that you were on the ground and working hard during that Old Home Week show.
Yeah, I'm the one who is in charge of putting the show together and sort of organizing all the dogs and the events, and then I MC the show as well.
Yeah, which you did a terrific job at, I might add. So give me a sense of what goes into putting that show on and organizing a flyball tournament.
Well, the show is different from the tournament. The show isn't the competition that we do. The show is something we do during the summer, during the Prince Edward Island Festival. It's our major fundraiser through the year. What goes into putting that together is first planning out what the events are that we're going to include, deciding what dogs will compete in each of the events, and then trying to organize it. How is it going to flow? How are we going to manage the crowd? One of the things we like to do is include a lot of interaction from the crowd with the dogs in the show. So there's several events. We bring down some kids from the crowd to play with the dogs or compete against the dogs in one of the events. And so trying to plan all that out and fit it within our 1 hour time frame. And this year we had the theme of the pedigrees versus the mutts. Mm-hmm. So then trying to make sure that we had dogs of each type, either the purebred dogs or the mixed breed dogs, to compete in each of the events. And so there was some management there, and we ended up having to double up some of the dogs. And I guess the other thing we always have to be aware of is, because it is during the summer, it's very hot, very humid, we try as much as we can to have each dog only compete in one of the events so they don't overheat. So the dog safety is always sort of the top of our minds there too.
The purebred versus the mutts element was perhaps one of my favorite components to it, because a lot of people get hung up on, they want to get a new puppy or a new dog, and a lot of people will reach for that purebred dog before going to the Humane Society to adopt, and that kind of just put them in parity with one another.
It's funny that at the beginning of each of the shows, I always try and get the crowd riled up, so I'll always say, okay, we're doing the pedigrees versus mutts. Let's see what the favorites are here tonight. So we'll say, let's hear it for the pedigrees, let's hear it for the purebreds, and then we'll say, well, let's hear it for the mutts. And consistently, the mutts get the biggest cheer. The crowd always seems to be behind the mutts.
Pardon the pun, but you're always kind of rooting for the underdog.
Yeah. So no, that's always fun, and I mean, when we're doing the competitions, it's a show, but each of the individual events, we are having the dogs out there, and they are legitimately trying to compete in each of their given events. We try and set it up so that each of the teams have a pretty even chance, and they're evenly split, and so we hope that at the end of the week, some of the nights the pedigrees will take the win, some of the nights the mutts will take a win. This year it didn't quite work out that way. I think the pedigrees only won 2 out of the 6 nights, so that made the crowd happy though.
I really appreciate that there is a huge animal outreach education program or element to it.
Right.
And so do all flyball groups, say across North America, do similar type shows?
No, there's a few that do, but I don't know that there'd be very many that do it to the level that we do. This started out, it really started out several years ago, just as a very small thing where we were asked to go in and do just a 10-minute demonstration of flyball itself. And then the following year we got asked back and asked if we could maybe make it a little bit longer and include a little bit more. And then
well, I mean, I have to say it's evolved into something quite remarkable, and you guys put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
You're doing it on a perhaps nightly basis?
We did 7 shows this year. We started out on a Saturday night was our first show, and we went right through, and our final one was on the Friday night.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoy doing it. I like putting it together, and I enjoy one of my favorite parts in it is at the end of each show, we do a meet and greet with the dogs out in the lobby, and the people come down, and they just love meeting the dogs and saying hello to their favorites, and they, the shows seem to go over very well. They seem to be a fairly popular event. We keep getting asked back, so I mean, that must be something that gets positive reviews anyway.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Now, this is one of how many events you would do each year?
Well, we only do the shows that we do is just once a year. We do that during the provincial festival that happens every year, the Old Home Week. And then the flyball, the competition part, we would do, about 10 tournaments per year. We host a couple of tournaments each year, and then we travel all over Atlantic Canada, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. Occasionally, we have sent teams to Maine, we've sent teams to Montreal, to Toronto. We have a group going down this year to Indianapolis. It'll be the second time we've traveled down there for the North American Championships. But yeah, that would be the competition, which is our main focus is the flyball competition. The shows is something, again, that we do. We do it for fun, and it generates some income for the club to help pay for the equipment, the matting, and the boxes and all that stuff, yeah.
So what does the future of Fast and Furious Flyball PEI look like?
Well, right now we're kind of in a stage where we're developing some new talent. We're bringing in new dogs. We're hoping to be running classes this fall to try and recruit some new members. Yeah, we're always looking for that next personal best time.
Sure.
So we've got a team right now that a new lineup that we've tried that's only been running together for a couple of tournaments, but they're looking promising. So yeah.
So for viewers at home that might be interested in getting involved, how do they reach you?
The best way to reach us, I guess, would be look us up on Facebook. We have Fast and Furious Flyball Dogs is on Facebook. We have a web page as well with email address. Just look for Fast and Furious PEI, do a web search for that. Email one of our members, and if you're interested, drop in to see a practice and talk to us, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Chris.
Great.
That's Chris Hickenbotham with the Fast and Furious Flyball group in Prince Edward Island. That's all for this week's show. Please join us again next time right here on Pet Peeves, exclusively on Eastlink TV.
Invisible Fence brand of Nova Scotia proudly sponsors Pet Peeves on Eastlink TV.